So, this is going to be a little bit of a story time today, but I have been inspired to do this because I know that I'm not the only one that's gone through this similar experience of knowing people were intending to do things to you, even though physically to your face what they would say to you was not what they were saying about you behind your back when you were not present. And I always find it funny that people think that lying about someone is never going to become known to them, especially when on the other side of that you're portraying yourself as nice and good and trustworthy and trustable and friendly to the person that you know you don't even care for or have good intentions for it. And so 4 years ago, really 5-6 years ago, as back as 2019, I was having very detailed dreams about my ex's family, his mother and his sister in particular. And in these dreams, I would wake up from them and I would just wonder why, because I was being shown conversations that they were having with people and intentions that they had towards me that at the time, I did not want to believe that that's what they were truly doing. And finally, in the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, I started doing something a little differently, and I didn't tell anybody that I was doing it because I wanted to validate for myself that there was a component of truth to what I kept having very detailed dreams about. Because as human beings, our perception so often is based on the lens through which we've experienced life, that it is very easy from that perspective to be gaslit by your own past internally by yourself, to then going through your current circumstance view life through that lens. And when you recognize that and you question whether that's just perception or whether that's a fear or a familiar groove popping back up in a relationship dynamic, regardless of if it's in a relationship or how you perceive events unfolding, if that's the familiar groove, questioning that is always a sign of a very strong mind, because most people will not question. They will just go with the flow and say, no, I'm seeing this and therefore I can trust it, or I'm responding to my circumstances and responding to the dynamics from what I'm picking up. And you might be picking up bad intentions towards you, or you could just be picking up on the realization that these people aren't truly for you. And so your mind will project that capacity out into the world, and it looks for people to play those parts, right? Becoming aware of that is a sign of a very strong mind, but it's also the sign of somebody that has always overcome in life and will continue to do that regardless of how it looks to the outside world, because you understand you better than anybody else will. And you understand your own process, and you're comfortable with your process. You're satisfied by not always having the answers, not always knowing the why of others. You understand your why, but you don't necessarily need to know the why of others. And so, in conversation, when I would be around his sister, I would ask her about certain topics, and I would instantly watch the tone and the inflection of her body language and her words and just everything. And what I came to understand is that she thought I was truly stupid, truly, truly naive, did not know what I was talking about, did not like me, never wanted to see my value or my worth as a woman or a person. And given any opportunity to make me be humiliated, she would take that route. And so the different things I questioned her about, she would try to come off as more knowledgeable in it than what she actually was. But she didn't do that. She didn't partake in that. And eventually, when everything came to a head and I was able to finally be guided away from all of that insanity and craziness, then it became, the MO became that I was doing to her what she had been doing to me. And the funny part is everything that I know that she was doing is now being exposed. But I'm to blame for that. But I wasn't the one that was in that circumstance. That was you doing and being and making that choice to have a relationship with someone who was married, who was disclosing confidential case information to you that he should not have been. You were the one that every time your brother was violent towards me, you immediately crafted a different narrative of events. And you and him both thought that I was just silent. You don't know that all throughout that, I never denied anything. I told the right people. So I have a paper trail. I have it documented. But because agencies and people that work in agencies don't want to do their jobs, I was denied protection. And so now what is unfolding is all of that is being uncovered and seen. Every aspect of it. And now you want to get mad at God and say that God is punishing you because he's not fair. No, God is just and he's very fair. He warned you to stop. You chose not to stop, so you chose destruction. You chose to have a lack of mercy shown to you because you refused to show mercy. You refuse to actually own up and accept accountability for your actions. And now you want to pull that, put all the weight of that on the person that you were targeting? Oh no, baby. That's not happening. That is not happening at all. What is unfolding is exactly what I told you would unfold. You are being made to accept the accountability for your choices and your actions. And yes, the ripple effects are going to be gut-wrenching because you offered everything that was important to you on the altar of your hatred for someone who never intended you harm. That is a mouthful. You get to deal with that. That is not my problem. instead of focusing on regaining custody of your children, you actively tried to distort the care and the nurturing that I gave to an innocent child because you have no capacity to nurture children. God saw that. He hasn't forgotten. He gave you warning after warning after warning after warning. You didn't listen to it. You refused to heed his warning. So now it's time. It's the season for you to learn your lesson.